Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined in the studio today by Shaka Hislop and Stevie Nicol. We'll be talking about all the action from across Europe later on in the show, but we'll start with the breaking news that Kylian Mbappe will join Real Madrid in the summer. La Parisienne reported it earlier today, and it's been substantiated by our very own Julien Laurens. It looks like after all the drama, all the soap opera, he will be going to the Spanish capital. Luis Garcia, Frank Leboeuf, the man himself, Julien Laurens, joins us. Jules, why is this time different to others when we thought he was going?
It's a good question, Dan. I think he feels now 25. He gave it another go in Paris. Remember all the drama from 2 years ago in May 2022 when we all thought that he was finally going to go to Real Madrid, and in the end he changed his mind. I think there was a lot of going back and forth and changing his mind all the time, and in the end he decided to stay, just to stay a bit longer to see if maybe he could deliver the Champions League for the first time ever in Paris. But I think he feels right now that this is the right time for him to get that big move, the big change, even for his own career, I think on and off the pitch, to get to another level, another dimension. And there's no bigger club really than Real Madrid. It's also one of his dreams to play and to wear that shirt that his idols growing up, Zinedine Zidane and Cristiano Ronaldo, wore before. So I think this time he felt probably more like the right thing to do than it was 2 years ago.
And this is it, Jules. There's not going to be a phone call from the French president or whoever to ring him up and say, do this for the country, stay with us for one more season?
I don't think so this time. Really, he seems to have made his mind up properly, completely as well. I mean, with him, we never know. But this time, although he hasn't yet told PSG or Real Madrid, neither the two clubs, but within the family, between themselves, they've decided. I think a few people start to be aware now. They're starting telling people. Obviously, the news is starting to break everywhere because I think he wanted a resolution very, very quickly, early. Last time, remember, 2 years ago was in May. That was really late, I think, for everyone. This time, everybody, the two clubs and himself, wanted a decision to make as early as possible. And now he's done it. They played on Friday night. And I think 10 days before the Champions League is back in Paris, I think it's no coincidence that he decided to take his decision now. We expect him to announce it officially, properly next week. Maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. That's what we've been told. But it doesn't look like now anything is going to change.
Frank, you've been a big champion of him staying in Paris. You felt like it was a good fit for him. Do you feel like now is the right time to move away?
Yes, I think so. I really think that, like just explained, that there is a time where you have the right to change your mind. You've done everything you had to do to try to help your favorite club and it's what he did, and it didn't work. So he has a chance to go to a bigger level, as Jules explained, go to another planet of football, I would say, comparing to Ligue 1. And if he has this opportunity, we cannot say anything to him and complain about anything. I think it's pretty nice for him to have stayed longer to Paris Saint-Germain to try something. Now there is a time to turn the page and open maybe another fantastic episode of his football career. I'm happy for him if he decides that, and there is nothing much to say except, yes, he wants to say it now, but imagine if Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain face each other in the Champions League before the end of the season. It's going to be something to say about.
Where do you play him, Stevie? How does he fit into this Real Madrid team that you imagine will be champions come the end of the season?
Well, I think if you're going to go and get a player like him, you play him where he's best. And he's best going down that left. I think Vinny, this season, is probably getting used to not being as wide. And will probably go from initially questioning why he's going through the middle to, I don't mind this. I quite like playing a little higher up the field. Probably has less defending to do as well. So I think you play Mbappe down that left-hand side where you get the best out of him. Yeah, you can't sign a player like that and play him out of position.
Does that make sense, Jules?
Yeah, I mean, both Vinicius and Kylian like that left-hand side. I think at that level and with those kind of players, I would suspect that the system stays the same. So you can easily have Bellingham as a 10, the three midfielders behind, and then Vinicius and Mbappe up front, or Mbappe Rodrigo. There's a lot of combination that you can have. I think at that level, the fluidity up front, whoever is playing, there's not really a left and a right and a center if you want with players like that. You can have a front three of Vinicius, Rodrigo and Kylian, and then all of them kind of interchange, everything could be quite fluid. What we've seen in the last 3 months in Paris with Luis Enrique is Luis Enrique saying, okay, Kylian, I know you prefer playing on the left-hand side because you usually have more space to use your pace especially, but you are the best number 9 that we have in Paris. So I'm going to play you in the 9 position, which is the position, and we've talked about it many, many times on the show, that Kylian didn't used to like that much. He preferred either playing a 2 up front, but not so much on his own, a bit isolated, where he's got his back to goal a lot. There's 2 centre-backs behind him all the time. But it seems that in the last few weeks, he kind of starting to like it a little bit more. He's been quite efficient. He's improved really in that lone striker role up in Paris, which I think could easily be the position that he will take up at Real Madrid. And again, if it's a front 3 or front 2 of Vinicius and him with Bellingham behind, again, I think he'd be very happy with that.
Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Bellingham. It's going to be fun, Shaq.
Yeah, not a bad starting lineup if you could get those 3 in your attacking lineup. Listen, I think as much as this move has been in a long time coming, I think Kylian Mbappe needs it as much as anyone just to continue his own advancement. And it adds an incredible threat to Real Madrid, as we've mentioned. A year ago, the question, I think, rightly was, where does he play, given what we've seen of Vinicius? But as Jules and Steve were saying, more and more this season, you've seen Vinicius happy to come inside, whether it was alongside Rodrigo. And all of a sudden, I think both those players, both Rodrigo, who had complaints at the start of the season, Vinicius wasn't quite sure, have kind of grown to appreciate that new formation that Ancelotti has. So there's no real suggestion, given the talents of these players and given Ancelotti's man management, who again I think is key to all of this, that he somehow makes this work, either as a front 2 or as a front 3 with Bellingham in behind.
Osman to replace him, Jules, at PSG?
Well, it was really interesting, I think, and again, they knew there was a chance for him to stay, of course. There's always a chance. The financial offer that PSG have put on the table is way better than Real Madrid. It's even better than what he's earning now, which is 72 million gross a year. So they even improved that. He will take a huge pay cut, 50% pay cut to go to Real Madrid. But they knew that if the money might not just be enough, basically, and that he would go to Real Madrid because he wanted something bigger, like we've explained. So there was a plan with Kylian next season and another plan with that. And I think from a long time at the club, they kind of had a feeling that it would be without him. So there's names already on the table, like a Rafael Leao, who they see as the perfect replacement for Mbappe. It will cost you a lot of money, of course, but by Kylian leaving in the summer, even as a free agent, as we've explained also before, you're saving off the money, the bonuses that you would have to pay him had he stayed, which is around between 80 and 100 million euros. So they would have money to spend for his replacement. I think one of the dreams that the Qatari had was Erling Haaland. I can tell them now this is not going to happen. However, I think Rafael Leao is more of a possibility. And then you see who else you can sign. But if you get Rafael Leao, I think this is already a good replacement. It's not Mbappe, not yet, but it's a good replacement.
Yeah, it's all right, Frank, but I'm a PSG supporter, and 18 months ago, my front 3 was Neymar, Messi and Mbappe, and now they're all gone.
Yeah, but it didn't work. I'm sorry. I mean, it's been proven that having stars and mega stars and trying to mix their talents together doesn't work, because it's hard to cope with the egos, it's hard to cope with the tactic, and especially with 2 players who doesn't know or don't want to defend. It's complicated, and you can have one, maybe. It's possible. It happens with Messi at Barcelona, Ronaldo in Madrid. It didn't work with Mbappe and only Mbappe in Paris Saint-Germain. But I think it's a time for them to try something else. I think, and we all know that until the Qatari don't change the way they think the football and the hierarchy that they have to impose, it will never work. Craig always mentioned Paris Saint-Germain as a circus. We're not too far from there. Because they don't want to listen to the others, to people who are completely neutral, who say, no, it's not the way you should work. And you've been doing that for like almost 15 years, and you didn't win the Champions League because you weren't listening to the to people who know and have the experiences. And it's why even with the best players that you can get and the money you have, you're not going to achieve anything because you don't have that discipline.
Good few weeks for Barcelona then, Luis.
Yes, of course. When they are good news for Real Madrid, you know that they are not going to be good news for Barcelona. And having a player like him at Real Madrid with the amount of talent that they have already with Vinicius, with Bellingham, it's not going to be easy to work with the three of them or with the four of them. I can tell you that, because in the end they are players that in defense they don't work that much, and you know, and you guys are mentioning that when you have a fantastic group of talents and brilliant and big stars, it not always works. You need to make a good environment around. You need to make a good structure to hold that. But definitely, I mean, we are talking about goals and how difficult it is to get goals on your team and on your side. There are not many players who can score over 30 goals a season. Maybe we can count it with one hand, 4 or 5 that I have in mind. Nothing else. And if you can grab one of those, definitely I will go for it. So yeah, bad news for Barcelona.
Did you have big plans today, Jules? What were you up to when all this broke? It must have been fun.
Yeah, I had one child was at a birthday party, the other one has just finished gymnastics, one was at football, and then all that broke. It's a bit like the 2 years ago when I was at the park with the youngest one of the three, and then it all exploded. It's a bit similar today.